Ryan Schultz from E39 Source here again on the 2006 E60 M5. A few days ago I posted a video about removing and reinstalling rear door panels. Today we're going to do the fronts. Mirrors are coming back from the paint shop here eventually, and we're going to have to go ahead and put those back on. So we can treat this video as a DIY to remove and reinstall the front door panels. This is the 2004 or 2007 door panel design. 2008, starting from March of 07 production, the door panel changed to a more traditional design with the window switch kind of down here instead of on this upright column. So I think there will be some differences, but this will cover the early style door panels. Additionally, we'll show you a few extra steps on how to get the mirrors out. Obviously, mirror removal does involve door panel removal, and essentially once the panel's off, this piece of trim and speaker housing here just peels back, revealing 3 Torx 30 screws. So the front panels are extremely similar to the rears. We do use some different fasteners. In fact, there's 2 types of the push pop rivet clips around the perimeter of the door. But we start in the same position. We want to take off this little airbag cover to reveal a Torx 30 fastener. You can just pull it like that or use a plastic pry tool. And our Torx 30 I already have out because I have these doors just about half reassembled. But in there you'll find a Torx 30. Around the perimeter of the door, we come down, keep going. It's all the way up here. So to start on the left on the inside, there's going to be a little black rubber or plastic cap. You can use a 90-degree little pick tool or a tiny flathead screwdriver. Pop the cap off, and then it's just going to be a Phillips head screw. Here's a look at the fasteners. The 3 Torx 30 screws up top are what hold the mirror on. If you're just taking off the door panel, we've got our T30 that's under the airbag cover, the Phillips head screw, and the cap for that. So just like we did with the rear panels, now we're going to use some sort of a pry tool like this. This one's perfect to insert in between the door panel and the door shell and hopefully not hit the clips, but in between them. Stick that in there and pry a little bit until you can get your fingers. And I think we're already there. Keep the door from shutting. Give a pull. We feel the pop rivets pop out of the door panel. And with the rest of that loose, the top works the same way as the rear panels as well. It's going to pull out this way, not up. And that requires a pretty good pull. Just don't be too aggressive because we don't want to screw up our lock rod there. And you just pull the handle to get it to come back out. So with the second hand, I'm just going to pull pretty hard. We're going to have a whole series of electrical connectors here that we're going to have to play with, including but not limited to the speaker puddle light at the bottom. There's a little LED here. Of course, the window switch. The airbag is in here. I have already disconnected the negative lead from the battery. I would highly encourage that you do that at this point. Otherwise, disconnecting the airbag will set off a code on the dash. Quick little pull, and we've got the door panel disconnected from the top. And now we're going to talk about that clip that I did in the rear panel video. It's the same style as the E39. It's located somewhere in here around the handle. So we're fully disconnected from the perimeter with the pop rivets and the top with the clips. Door panel still feels pretty tight, and this seems to be the case on all of these. So the solution is to pull straight up, and that's going to leave a little black clip that's supposed to stay on the panel. It's going to leave it on the door shell. I will in a minute show you how to remove it from the door shell and put it back on the door panel for installation. So I just lifted up. We're still attached by all the wires, so I'm trying to keep the stress off of that. This is the clip I'm talking about right here, and it slides into this bracket. So eventually, once we get the electrical connections removed here, I'll show you how that works. Now we've got 2 connections in the speaker. These are the blue ones. Looks like the yellow wires are in the bottom, the blue and red wires are on the top. And you're better off to pull by the connector, I know, but sometimes that's not always doable. Those come out pretty easily. So there's our speaker disconnected. Then we've got our window switch here, same deal as the back. We're going to take that, give it a tug, it comes out. We're going to move over towards the outside of the panel. Down here, this is the LED for the little mat pocket. We're just going to grab those prongs, squeeze, and pull. The whole LED comes out. The door handle works the same way as in the rear. We've got a little tab at the bottom. We pry the tab, and it comes off very quickly. The handle releases like that. Now the only one we've got left is the airbag module itself. And the best way to do that is just squeeze that tab right there relatively hard, pull and wiggle. And this is kind of a 2-piece connector. You'll see that the pieces separate. So when we want to put it back in, we're going to pull it apart. I need 2 hands, but how I just had it, you pull this black part on the left apart, push it in the airbag, and then follow it by pushing that part back in. One more connection up top. This is for the second LED, and this one doesn't unplug from the panel. It just unplugs from the electrical harness there like that. And lastly, finally at the bottom, we have the connection for our puddle light. These are real light connectors. We just grab the installation there and pull it out. So here's the door panel off. Again, my reason for doing this is just to replace all of these clips that a certain body shop does not know how to put back together. We're going to replace them, and we'll see two types. We've got these red ones, used to be red, here on the inside. Then there's a gray one, another red one, and then a bunch of white ones around the perimeter. So I'll check the real OEM Explosion one more time, make sure we have the right ones, and then we'll be replacing those. And now back to that clip that I said we'd talk about. So same as the last video, these are the Pittsburgh brand from Harbor Freight Oetiker clamp pliers. And the key is we need some pliers that, instead of just like a needle nose that looks more like this, it kind of needs to do that. And this is supposed to come off, it just doesn't. It's kind of a bad design. I hope they've done away with that. So we're gonna use the pliers to squeeze the prongs in the tab like that. You can see the movement in there. That'll free up the clip. Then we pull the clip straight off like so. And now we'll go back to the panel, and we're gonna slide it right into this part of the bracket near the speaker like that. And now when we line it up, see, it's kind of tapered to accept that clip. So we'll line it up, and it's just gonna push straight on as it goes back on over that prong. Again, we're gonna go around the perimeter of the vapor barrier here. That's this big seal. Make sure that everything's tight. You're not able to get any fingers inside the door. If that's the case, you'll need some butyl tape, B-U-T-Y-L. You can buy that stuff on Amazon. It's real sticky black kind of rubberized tar tape, and it just goes around the whole perimeter to seal up the inside of the door. If you're using this DIY to replace a window regulator, window glass, door lock actuator, anything inside the door, from here you'll pretty much just remove the wiring harness using a careful tool. It's pressed in to some holes. Get that out of the way, and then you're just going to peel this all the way back. It's a real pain. You got to clean up all the butyl tape and then reseal it, but that'll get you inside the door. Lock actuator is here. I'll just let the cable for the door release mechanism hang. Looks like an electrical connection for that. And that's about it. So I'm going to go ahead and replace those rivets. Here's three parts you may need. So there's two types of clips. We've got these red ones and gray ones. The red ones are 07146962771. Gray ones are 51418224781. And then if you damage or are missing or lose the two little black rubber plastic Phillips screw covers, part number for those, same on the rear, 51161949793. According to real OEM, the red ones are going to replace all of these original white ones, and they should all have these little sealing gaskets on there. Some of them stay on the clip, some of them stick to the actual door shell, so be sure to check the holes, and they just pull right off if they stuck on there. But I'm just going to replace all of these. So red ones are going to replace our white ones, and then it does show that there's 4 of the gray ones that are supposed to be, I think, on this leading edge. It's really not very clear at all, though comparing these two clips between the red and the gray, there is virtually no difference. They are the same size and appear to be interchangeable. For reference, there are 9 clips per door panel for the front, and there's 8 per door panel in the rear. These clips are easy to remove. They just slide whatever way is not a complete circle. So for that one, it just pushes in. The best of my ability is to read it this way. We're going to put the 4 ones on the front leading edge, and then down here by the puddle light, and the rest are going to be red. Again, I don't think it makes any sort of a difference. We're on the inside of the driver's door now, and really the only difference is with the speaker wiring. It looks like the connection that goes on top feeds the tweeter. The one that goes on bottom is part of this insulated harness. Seemingly that is the only difference. And the driver's master window switch panel is a 4-pin connection. Just pulls out, looks like that. Additional steps for removing or reinstalling the mirror is very simple. This piece of trim here just lifts right out, and there's a bit of a lever action that you've got to do right here. As you can see, that has that step. So I tend to start at the outside and get that loose, and then on the inside or the rear portion here, you just kind of pull it back and hinge it out. And that reveals 3 Torx 30 screws, 1, 2, and 3. Those come out very easily. The reinstalling torque is 6 Newton meters, or about 53 inch-pounds, not foot-pounds of torque. The electrical connection comes through the chassis right here with a sealing grommet and plugs in with a 3-pin connector right down here, so it's nice and easy to remove and reinstall that mirror. The panels go back together just as you'd expect, just like the rears. We've got our Torx 30, the Phillips, the cap. Make sure everything's plugged in first. Don't forget the door handle and pop everything back in place. A key for reinstallation is just look in between the door shell and the door panel here, and before you whack the panel back into place, make sure that the gray or red rivet is pointing in the hole. I think what happens is people are in a hurry and they just slap them up there and then just start beating the panel, but the clips are not yet aligned with the holes, so be careful with that. Otherwise, you do need a bit of a harder hit up here. Make sure the lock rod gets through the hole, and then it snaps on beautifully in place. That's going to conclude the front door panel video. We did replace that driver's side mirror over there, so it now folds beautifully and works just like the right side does. Thanks for watching this video. Leave some comments below. I'll talk to you guys in a future E39 source video. Talk soon.